What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and I'm with John. John, how are you? It's Everton against Rotherham, FA Cup third round on Saturday. This is very often a game that I tend to take my little boy to just to get him involved in Everton and the FA Cup and, you know, the magic around it. What are you expecting from this one, my friend?
Well, I'm expecting a win, obviously, but, you know, potential banana skin. Listen, every time a lower league team plays Everton in the Cup, it's a potential banana skin. I think that's why they always put us on the telly. But, you know, barring last game, I think we should take enough confidence into this game to go into the next round. You know, to be honest, I haven't looked at Rotherham's form, so I hope you have. But listen, I've made a few changes to my team. The team still should be strong enough to go into the next round of the Cup, no problem.
To be honest, I'm going to go with your team, and it's not because I can't be bothered to look, but it's because I have no idea how Everton are going to line up. I literally haven't got a clue. I'm expecting Olsen. I expect Nkunku. I expect players like Tom Davies to come in, and that's it's not like we've got massive strength and depth, is it?
Well, we haven't, and I think we're going to have to keep the majority of the team that we've been going with. Michael, you know, at the end of the day, they haven't played shitloads of games yet this season. There was no pre-season, really. So, listen, these players should be fit. And, you know, you had Ancelotti coming out after the last game saying, Iwobi said he felt tired, and Michael Keane said he felt tired. Listen, I don't get it. One of the comments said to us, you know, why don't you go and try play 90 minutes? Well, I'm not being funny. These are well-trained athletes. They should be able to train for 2 hours a day, have a day off through the week, play 90 minutes on a Saturday or whenever it is, go in on the Sunday for a muscle rub down. With the, you know, the way they get looked after, they've only played 17, 18 games in the league. Yeah, we did have the Carabao Cup games, but these players should be still fit, Michael, to play week in, week out. But, you know, you don't want to pick injuries up, you know, just after Christmas when we are chasing what we are, you know, in the league. But the team I've picked still is mostly the players we've been going with, but there is a few surprises in there and a bit of youth as well.
Go on then, John. You might as well go through your team.
So I'm going for Olsen in goal.
Yep.
Backline's the same for me. Keane comes back in. Godfrey, Keane, me and Holgate. On the right, Iwobi comes back in because up until he didn't play because he was tired. He'd been doing okay, and I never thought I'd say that. So he goes on the right. On the left is Nkunku. I think him and Godfrey can link up really well down that left-hand side, to be fair. Gomez and Decore in the middle. And then I'm putting James just behind Ellis Sims. I'm going to give Ellis Sims a run out. You know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's played every game, I think, this season. Has gone on a bit of a drought. Maybe just needs a little rest. That's what we'll probably hear. But, you know, give Ellis Sims a go against teams. No disrespect to Rotherham. Throw him in, see what he can do. You know, put Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the bench. If we are struggling to break them down, bring him on. It's a good substitute to have on the bench. But for me, let's see what this Ellis Sims kid's about.
Yeah, do you know what? I can't argue too much with that team. I may consider swapping. I may consider moving Godfrey out and sticking on Nkunku at left back.
It's either or with them because we both know they can take players on more than what fucking crying arse is.
Well, at the minute, yeah. But then you have that gap on the left-hand side of midfield, which I think Bernard would probably go in there. I can see Richarlison having a rest for this game. I can see Dominic Calvert-Lewin having a rest for this game. So I have no arguments for your team there, John. I must say I have no problem with that. In terms of Rotherham, then, we're going up against the side that are 23rd in the Championship. They are 3 points adrift from, you know, the staying up positions, 21st onwards. However, they do have 2 or 3 games in hand with all of the teams around them. They have scored 19 goals and conceded 29. And from what I can tell, 29 puts them about 16th in the Championship. So genuinely, Rotherham, you know, if they get their act together in these 2 or 3 games, they could be, you know, they could be 3 or 4 points clear of the relegation zone in the Championship, which I think for a club like Rotherham, no disrespect, I think they'll take that. In terms of form, they've won 1 out of their last 5. They've lost their last 2. So, you know, they're not exactly on fire. They're struggling a little bit. And, you know, as much as Everton, you know, we go into the game off the back of a defeat against West Ham, which was a really disappointing game. It looked like we weren't arsed at all. I think Rotherham, this probably isn't a game that Rotherham wants, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, fans or no fans, when you draw a lower league team who are coming to Goodison, or any Premier League team for that matter, it does give them a lift. This will be, let's be honest, no disrespect to Rotherham, not going to win the FA Cup.
No.
This, for them, is their FA Cup final.
Yep.
Fans or no fans in the stadium, it does give them a lift playing against, a Premier League team. So, in my opinion, I think the form that you've just told me and their position in the league, it goes out the window for teams like this, Michael. Do you know what I mean? They come to Goodison, and just playing at Goodison will give them a lift. And Everton have got to be ready for that, because I think, in my opinion, said this on the channel, I've said it to you, I think Everton have got a bit cocksure of themselves with a couple of the defeats they've had this season, and I think West Ham was one of them where they felt like, we've only got to turn up. It's West Ham. We're on a great run here. You can't do that against lower league teams, because they're on a high. They're playing at Goodison, they're playing at a Premier League ground, whoever it is. And, they will give us a game, Michael. When you play teams like this in a cup game, it can only go two ways. You'll absolutely blow them out the water and win 4-5-0, and you'll be 3-0 up after 15 minutes. Or you'll realise you're in a game after 15 minutes and it's not going our way. And that's two ways it can go. I hope it's not the latter. I hope we do start stronger and don't underestimate them and go at them and show we want to get into this next round of the cup, and hopefully then get a victory on Saturday and take it into our next league games that, got a few hard games coming up.
Yeah. And you can't argue with that. Rotherham, from what I can tell, it looks like they've had a decent break themselves as well. I think their last game was on the 29th of December. So they've had a little bit of a break as well. They'll go into this game feeling fresh. And, you want these teams from the lower divisions to come to Goodison and have a game. You don't want it that Everton necessarily go out there and smash a team 5-0, because what test is it to the players, And then to think that we play Wolves on the 11th or whenever, I think it's the Tuesday after, to play Wolves on the 11th or the 12th, you want that intensity level to still be up. And if it drops because of the team that we're playing against, it's a question as to whether that's actually good for us. So
it's down to the mentality of the players, isn't it? And what Carlo says to them, don't take this game lightly. I want you to start with intensity. We've got a couple of hard Premier League games coming up. Build the confidence back up after the defeat last game and go into it like we're looking to smash them. Yeah.
Now, if you remember, Everton actually played Rotherham 2 years ago in the League Cup. Everton won 3-1. And Rotherham don't have a great record at Goodison Park, and the 4 occasions they've been there, they've lost the last 4.
I expect them to lose this game. And again, I'm not having a pop at Rotherham, but, this is probably a game Rotherham fans, or the majority of them, know they're going to get beat. But, it's nice. Listen, we want to be playing these teams as in, to progress into the FA Cup. Because for me, if you look at the season Everton are having, Michael, and we've sat here and we've slagged them off and we've had a pop. In my opinion, when we have, it's been granted. Whether it's the substitutions, the performances, the manager's decisions, we have, in our opinion, it's been granted. But, start with the easier teams. We should have a good FA Cup run. We can't progress the Carabao Cup. It's a trophy we could have won. So, let's go all out to get a trophy at the end of the season. Let it be the FA Cup. Builds up to the tougher games, because we all know you have to beat the tough games in the FA Cup to win it. So let's start with the easy games. Hopefully there'll be a few banana skins on the way for the other top sides, which gives us more of a chance.
John, what's your score prediction? He's dropped his headphones. This
happened the other night, and I've switched it off.
I think we're going to go with the same score.
4-0.
Yeah, we are. As if we did that, yeah. I just looked into his soul and got the score. Yeah, I think Everton win 4-0. And as you say, and I think it's important that we see some of these people that we've we've sort of wanted to see a little bit more of. I was really excited by Nils Nkunku at the start of the season. I really, really rate that kid very highly, and it would be nice for him to get a game. Now, there is rumours, although I don't know how true they are, that Luca Dean may be fit to be on the bench for this game. Now, look, I'm not expecting him to be on the bench, and nor really would I want him to be when we've got Wolves on Tuesday. I want him to have that extra time, because we spoke earlier of Luca Dean's importance to the team. We spoke off the channel. We spoke about how important he is. Do you think this is an opportunity for some of those players like Nkunku, like a Tom Davies, who when he came in did okay, like an Andre Gomes? Do you think it's an opportunity for them, or do you think it's a game that, irrespective of who Everton put on the pitch, Everton should be winning, and it's not really anything to take away from it?
Yeah, you can't take much out of these games, Michael. The players I've named in the team, and you've, near enough agreed. And the players that we could bring in instead of them players still should be good enough. I think, we spoke privately the other day, and we mentioned Tom Davies. I think Tom Davies knows when the Ancelotti project kicks in, he starts bringing his players in. I think in the back of his mind, he knows, his days at Everton will be numbered. There's other players we spoke about who the team I've picked will probably offer more than what he's offering us at the minute. So, listen, whoever comes in should be beating Rotherham. I think it's probably a chance for some players to put themselves in the shop window, whether it be on loan. You might see Branthwaite, he was on the bench the West Ham game. You might see him come in, put himself in the shop window for a loan move. He was linked with Blackburn. Hope Nkunku won't be the case with him. I'd like him to stay at the club, because in my opinion, Nkunku should have played a lot more than what he has this season. I think he offers us more than certain players. I think he's more direct than certain players we've got at the club. I think he can go past players more than what we've got certain players at the club. And he delivers that ball, Michael. Yeah, Ellis Sims does score a lot of headers. Don't think he's as good in the air as Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But listen, I've picked Ellis Sims. Dominic Calvert-Lewin probably will play, but Nkunku, James linking up, Ellis Sims just in front of them, Gomez alongside against the Rotherham team, should blow them out the water, to be fair.
And just a couple of things. We might as well talk about transfers while we're here, while I've got you. You mentioned a player potentially going out on loan there, Jared Branthwaite. He could be on his way to Blackburn on loan. I know they're interested in him. Blackburn will have quite a good side there, actually. In my opinion, should be challenging for the playoffs, if not automatic promotion. But other players that have been linked with exits. Bernard to Roma.
It's a strange one, because at the beginning of the season, he had the chance to go. And Ancelotti come out and said he wants to keep him at the team because he rated him and he wanted him around the club, and then doesn't really give him a go. He's been in and out the team, and listen, part of the Bernard deal could be Olsen coming permanent, which probably, in my opinion, Bernard's on a lot of wages because we got him on a free transfer. So I think Bernard going, Olsen coming in the other way with a bit of cash, gets a lot of money off the wage bill. We have sort the financial play out from now to the end of the season. As you said this morning, Michael, it's an open checkbook next season. The financial fair play hopefully should be sorted. I don't see any big name players going out. I think that will be in the summer. This transfer window is going to be a tough transfer window for a lot of clubs, because the transfer window in the summer finished late. Clubs have struggled financially. Thank God Everton aren't one of them with the virus and stuff. And January transfer window is a tough window anyway. It's a tough window. So I'd love to see a right back come in the mould of Max Aarons. Will we go after a winger in this transfer window? I think it depends on outgoings. I really do.
And I suspect it would probably only be a loan, personally. That's what I think.
Yeah. I think the big one's in the summer.
Yeah, another player that's been linked with an exit from Everton is Cenk Tosun to West Brom. Loan with a view to buy if they stay in the Premier League. Do you take that offer?
All day. I'll drive him there. Call him for a couple on the way. But the £6 million. Big Sam brought him to Everton. Let him take him to West Brom with him. What I will say, Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets injured. We did hear a few things that Richarlison sees himself as a striker now, not a winger. doesn't look like that's going to happen. You know, I think Ancelotti is going to play him on the left-hand side. If Tosin goes, you know, really it leaves us weak up front. I can't see someone coming in who can play up front or out wide left and right, or an out-and-out striker if Tosin does go.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of them potential incomings. And we both know and we both agree with a particular name, and that's Milik, who could be available for £9 million in January, or I think he could be free in the summer if Everton want to try and get that pre-contract agreed. What's your? Is that the sort of? Is that sort of player you want?
If I'm not wrong, I think Ancelotti's managed Milik, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Right. He knows the player. I think I think he's made a lot of noises that he wants to play in the Premier League. If Tosin goes for £6 million, we can get him for £9 million. You know, you're getting rid of Tosin and you're bringing someone like Milik in for basically £3 million, who will probably on less wages than Tosin as well. So if that happens, I'll be very, very happy. He's an out-and-out striker, Milik. Someone would need, listen, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's had a fantastic season, but I don't know how to say this without getting slated. Milik is a goal scorer. I'm not saying Dominic Calvert-Lewin's not a goal scorer. He's a better all-round player, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He does come short to pick the ball up. He's good in the air. He's got close control. Milik's instinctive. And that's the sort of centre-forward I think Everton need to bring in. I don't think we've got an instinctive centre-forward at the minute. You look at like Harry Kane, he's instinctive.
You're on about like that type of Jalovic player that we had the first, say, 6 months he was here, where he'd score one touches, in the box.
That's it.
One goal.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. Yeah,
Lukaku, Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, Gary Lineker, them sort of players who know where the goal is, one touch, bang, goal. We haven't got anyone like that, and this isn't slagging Dominic Calvert-Lewin off, because he's a fantastic player. He's made me eat humble pie so many times, had a fantastic season. But he's not instinctive enough for me.
He's a different type of striker. I get exactly what you're saying. He's a different type of striker. You're on about. I mean, this isn't a great comparison, but you're on about two different strikers, such as a Tammy Abraham and a Giroud. They're both different strikers, but they're both really good strikers. You would say,
and they're both capable of giving you goals. But one's an instinctive striker. One's a better all-round striker. And, if Ancelotti does go with 4-4-2, like I've said to you on many times off the channel, I've said on the channel, I like 4-4-2 formation. Not many teams play it now. For me, Ancelotti, that is his preferred choice. Will he bring players in to stick with that formation, or will he look at it and think, well, I've been playing 4-4-2 with basically a lot of shit. Do we bring better quality in and change the formation of Everton? We don't know, but if we are going to play 4-4-2, Milik and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front would be a good partnership, in my opinion.
Yeah, and do you know what? I agree. We were talking about this because it's difficult to know what formation Carlo actually wants, because, James, would you want James Rodriguez literally at the right-hand side of a 4? We get away with it a little bit being the right-hand side of a 3 because there's a player behind him to cover him, but in a 4 there wouldn't be. So, yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one to call. Another player that has been, I'm not going to say linked with an exit, but a few people have questioned where he's at mentally, whether he wants to be here or not. Now, I don't want to go too in-depth on this because I think a lot of people may take some of the things we take completely out of context. But Richarlison does not look happy. Are you worried that, say, for example, like Barcelona, I think Barcelona come in last January, although I think Everton said that didn't happen. Are you worried that a team like Barcelona could come in and offer him, I don't know, 80, 90, 100 million? Would you worry losing Richarlison right now based on the season he's had so far?
No. And listen, people know I say it how it is. I'm not going to hold back, Michael, because a lot of people don't watch the video to the end anyway, so they probably won't see this. But he had to be talked into staying at Everton for another season by Carlo. There was murmurings he was going to go last summer. There was an apparent bid by Barcelona. Whether that was true, I don't know. No smoke without fire, in my opinion. He was talked into staying to give Everton that push for Champions League, and if we qualified for it, maybe he will stay. He hasn't looked happy since the last summer for me. I think he's been... Listen, I'm not going to sit here and slag with Richarlison off because he's a fantastic talent. He's a fantastic player. We've seen
he's a
that.
beautiful man.
He's a beautiful Brazilian. He's a beautiful human being. So he is. Right. But... No, we've seen his talent, so I'm not going to sit here and say he's shit and, I want him to go. I'm not going to sit here and say that. But he's not producing. He's not producing, Michael. We got the red card in the derby. A lot of people have said he's been shit since the derby. Don't think he's been as good as what he was last season or this season. Yeah. So if I woke up, we had this conversation before, Michael. James, for me, is our most productive, creative player we've got.
Yeah.
Followed by Luca Dean.
Yeah.
As you pointed out, early on in the season when they were both playing, you had James spraying the ball over to Luca Dean to put it in. They were working well from opposite sides of the ground, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can't say Richarlison is creating much at the minute. He's not going past players like he was. He's not getting in behind the opposition. And like we've seen him, Michael, he's took players on and got to the byline and pulled it back and we've scored. He's not doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think his heart's... I'm not saying his heart's not in Everton. I don't think his heart is in anything at the minute. I think he spit his fucking massive dummy out again that he has. And I don't think he'll go in January because I don't think anyone will pay that sort of money in January. But I will be very, very surprised if he's here next season.
Yeah.
To be honest, whether we finish in the top four, which, let's be honest about it, we're probably not. But you never know because of the way the league is. Everton could go on an unbelievable run. But I pointed out to you this morning, Michael, when we had Richarlison out, injured, or the ban after the derby, did we really miss him?
Well, we lost Southampton, Newcastle, Man United. Then he come back in and we won. And we've been on a good run. We've been on a good run since. But Richarlison hasn't really added to it, if you get what I mean.
No.
The
run we were on, the good run we were on, right? Do you think them results still would have happened without Richarlison being in the team?
So me and you had an argument on stream about this, and that's the difficulty. Because I love Richarlison when he tracks back, wins the ball, and carries it, and he's still done that. But as me and you rightly said this morning, he's paid to put the ball in the box. He's paid to score goals.
Doing more work, tackling back at the minute.
Yeah, and look, I have no problem with that. I'm not sitting there saying Richarlison's doing anything wrong, but the bit that gets him going is beating people and scoring, and this is why I'm sort of on the fence as to what I think about it, because he is down, he is sulking, he's not the normal Richarlison. You see that on Twitter. He usually interacts with Blues. He'll put, at the start of the season, he was putting blue hearts, he was putting little blue badges. He's always given indication that he absolutely loves his football club. And I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not sitting here and saying he doesn't. But what I'm saying is that maybe his mentality is changing. And the other thing that Richarlison does that he's not necessarily done this season is score goals. And he's not. And that it makes me wonder whether, as you rightly said, he is sulking, but it's whether he's sulking at his own individual performances, because he knows potentially he may not get his big move off the back of this season. Or he knows there's a big move coming and he didn't get it. And that's where I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you whether he's sulking at the poor performances or he doesn't want to be here. And that's the difficulty.
It's a mixture of things. I think it's a mixture of things. You look at some of the goal celebrations, Michael. Something so small as this, but sticks out like a fucking sore thumb. Last season, when we were scoring goals, whoever was scoring the goal, he was legging it over there. Even when he used to score, he used to do that, and he was on top of the players when one of the other players scored. I watched the goals Everton have scored this season when he's on the pitch. It just doesn't seem like he wants to join in with the celebrations.
And I get that, because I remember Lukaku going exactly the same way. The last 3 or 4 months Lukaku was at Everton, he stopped celebrating his goals. and it was pretty obvious to me that Lukaku was leaving before we left.
I think it's obvious, and it's exactly the same way with Lukaku and with Richarlison. We shouldn't have paid 50. I'm not saying we shouldn't have paid, because we did pay it and he was great when he first come. But for £50 million, we've got a winger who's helping out more defensively. There was last stream I pointed out, Michael. Richarlison's in the box. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's crossing it to him. He wasn't bought for that. He was bought to supply. Now, we did hear something, me and you, that part of the sulking process that he's actually doing at the minute is because he wants to play up front. Doesn't class himself as a winger anymore, which probably points out why Dominic Calvert-Lewin was supplying him last game. Yeah, it was only a one-off, but he seems to be doing his own thing and drifting inside.
And again, this is what I said to you earlier, and again, I get that, because at the start of the season, the way that we were playing football was the ball was going into James. James was dropping the ball over to Luka Dean, and he was delivering the ball to the front or the back post, and either Richarlison or Lewin were there. One of them was in the box. Now that Luka Dean's not there, Ben Godfrey isn't getting forward as much as that. He's having to stick to the left-hand side, and I just wonder whether he sort of, as you rightly said, he wants to play in the middle more, because if he played in the middle more, the ball would be going over to him. He would be scoring more goals. He would be, involved.
I think he wants to become a goal scorer more, doesn't he? I think that's what it is. I think he wants to bang them goals in every week. And we get that.
And we said 18 months ago, I remember doing a video, it might have been 12 months ago, doing a video with you and saying Richarlison is a better natural finisher than Calvert-Lewin. Yeah. I certainly remember that in one-on-ones. I remember saying it for the Man United preview last season where we drew 1-1. I remember saying,
Richarlison will score more one-on-ones than Dominic Calvert-Lewin will.
But I don't know whether that's true anymore. And that's where I think the issue, he's just not the same player. And I love Richarlison. I stood on this channel fighting you about Richarlison. I absolutely love him. I love his work.
And that's why I said before this part of the video, this conversation, I'm not sitting here saying I want him to go and he's shit and blah, 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 blah. It's just an opinion that I have, and I've said this for a couple of weeks now, Michael, on the channel. Something's not right with him. Doesn't look happy. I think he's probably thinking back to last summer now, thinking, if I'm not happy here, why didn't I push for the move instead of getting talked into staying for another season?
Yeah, and look, I hope that whatever it is comes good. I mean, as you said, we're only 16, 17 games in the season. There's 21 games. He could come good. He could still get 15, 20 goals this season, no problem.
Yeah. Do you know what? I again, and it'll back up what I'm saying, that I'm not slagging him off as, what he is, what he can offer the team. He's just not offering it. Now, don't get me wrong. He might go on and score 12, 15 goals for the rest of the season, as you said, Michael. Start playing with a smile on his face. Come the end of the season, says, oh, yeah, I'm really enjoying my time at Everton, I want to stay. He might do. If he's performing, I'll be over the fucking moon.
Yeah.
But if he carries on putting these performances in, who have we got to come in for him? Who? Can you see a Carlo Ancelotti dropping a player like Richarlison to play on Conclu on the left? No, I can't.
No.
So this is the problem we have. Do we carry on playing a player who's walking round with a fucking shit on, not putting a shift in, not doing what he was brought to do, which is to take players on, whip the ball in, get in behind the opposition, score goals, because he's not doing any of them things. Now, if I was a manager, he'd be fucking dropped. He would be dropped, and I don't care if he's fucking Richarlison and he cost us 50 million. He would be dropped.
Well, it's happened before, hasn't it? I remember Marco Silva dropping him just for a couple of games, just to sort of get his head back, and it worked a treat. So look, maybe that happens. Maybe if he doesn't play against Rotherham, and maybe he has a rest against Wolves. Maybe he's on the bench against Wolves. Maybe that says says to him, yeah, look, whatever I want, whether it be a move, whether it's to play for Everton, whether it's to get Champions League football, I need to do better. I need to do my job better. But I also think Luca Dean coming back into this side will massively help Richarlison because it will give him that freedom on the left. That's what I was going to say
before. Maybe that's what he's missing. Maybe he's missing Luca Dean behind him with that link-up play, a bit like Baines and Pienaar used to do. Maybe that's why, maybe that's why he's not performing. Going back to what you said a couple of seconds ago about does he want to stay at Everton, does he want Champions League football, whether that be with Everton, God's will, and it probably won't be this season, or does he want that move abroad? At the end of the day, Michael, if he carries on putting performances in like he is, then he's not going to fucking get any of them. Yeah. So he has to fucking turn the fucking frown into a smile. He has to start putting a shift in. He has to start playing for this move if that's what he wants, earning a price tag, making clubs look at them and go, well, fucking hell, we will pay 70, 80, 90 million for him because look at the second half of the season he's had. Or does he carry on in the same situation that he's in, not looking happy, not being asked, not putting performances in? Because I tell you now, if he does, he'll be at Everton next season in the same situation. Because someone's not going to buy a player like that. Because at the end of the day, Richarlison, he's a young lad. Everton paid 50 million. We're not going to lose money on him. We are going to look at 70, 80 million pounds. Who's going to play 70, 80 million pounds for a player like that? No one. So he has to pull his finger out of his arse and start putting performances in and earn his place. Earn that he's playing for Everton Football Club. Aspire to push Everton up that league for where we want to be. But if he doesn't want to be at Everton, still give us that push. Make yourself get noticed and let one of the big boys come in and offer big bucks for you. Then you'll get your move.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that we could, as horrible as it sounds, we could never argue against Lukaku for, because although we knew quite right he didn't want to be at Everton, he still scored goals.
He put performances in, and this is the thing, Michael. Big players like that aspire. And this is no disrespect to Everton. I'd never sit here and slag Everton off. How many players have left Everton and thought the grass was greener?
Well,
John Stones.
We're not Real Madrid, are we?
No. And this is what I'm saying. It doesn't. If you don't play for Real Madrid, Man United, Barcelona, and it hurts me to say it, the shite or City, they're some of the biggest clubs in the world. If you want to play for them, you have to fucking earn it. You have to put performances in. You have to put a price tag on your head for one of these big boys to go, fucking hell, Everton wants 70, 80 million for Richarlison, but he's a fantastic player. He's young. Look at the second half of the season he's had. Make that bid. Now, if you don't play for one of them big boys, clubs are going to come in for you, Michael, but you also have to earn your move. And if you're not, then unfortunately, he'll be stuck at Everton. Well, not unfortunately, because as I said before, he's a fantastic player.
But from his perspective,
from his point of view, if he doesn't start putting better performances in, he's going to be at Everton. He's not going to get a move to the big boys because he won't deserve it. No one will pay the price tag. Whether he has a shit rest of the season, Everton is still going to put a 70, 80, 90 million price tag on his head. So he has to have a good second half of the season for that to be warranted to be paid by one of these big boys.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Well, John, I'm prepared to leave it there. My
flashing
friend.
Lights behind me here, an ambulance in the street with lights on.
It's to pick you up.
Fuck yeah, never asked that to get off here because of me rant.
It knows what's coming now, guys, thank you ever so much for watching. As always, make sure you hit and like the subscribe button, press the bell notification button. Channels flying, views are flying, channels flying. I would say consistently now, at the start of the season, we were getting, say, 1,000 views per video. I would say consistently now we get 2.5 to 2 to 3 to, say, 6 or 7 on a match watch along. We've had a few that have had 10 or 13,000. So, guys, keep going, keep following us, keep supporting us, keep sharing. We really appreciate it. We are always trying. Next week, we've got some really good videos coming out. We've got one involving loads of Everton fan channels, including the Mighty Blues, Everton Rose, the NSNO website, the Upper Bullens podcast. We've got really good content creators all coming on to our channel next week. The other channels have been asked. So for anyone that thinks there's some mighty conspiracy between us and any of the others. There really isn't. Also, shout out to Falcon Blues as well. They're also coming on. So yeah, there's some great content coming. I'm going to do a transfer video. John's also going to get Ben Winstanley on as well, who will do another great video.
Chomping at the bit, Ben. He's messaging me all the time to come on.
You might want to refrain from using dog analogies with Ben, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll just use that analogy for Richarlison at the minute, but there you go.
And then we will have another video with Sheffield United, Leeds, potentially West Ham again, just because I don't think I could get enough out of Corey that I really wanted to the other night. And some other people in there, because I want to know the perspective from their clubs on where they are. We've also got a new show on one of the days. I haven't quite worked out what day it is, but that will be called The Chat Show, and that will be about football rumours, football allegations, and there may be a video tomorrow coming out with some potentially huge rumours of a mega football star.
Who's that? What was the rumour?
Well, the rumour is that Neymar's gay.
Would you have a calendar of him, Michael? Would you?
Absolutely. Look, at the end of the day, the one thing I want to say, and I want to highlight now that John's fucking blew that out of the fucking water, the stupid dickhead, is it doesn't matter whether you're gay or colour or sex.
No, nothing wrong with it. I mean, nothing wrong with it. Me and Michael.
Look at John shitting himself. You haven't said anything wrong, John. Don't worry. Keep yourself calm, cunt.
See what happened last time. Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. I actually think if he is, this is massive for football. It's brilliant for football for someone to come out and show that stigma. That stigma and that criticism of footballers who are gay, it no longer exists. Look, whether Neymar is or isn't, I think it's massive for football either way, because it's opening up people's perspective of it. People need to appreciate that there are gay footballers. There are, we have this thing as well with managers who are black, who aren't in the Premier League. And I think that's wrong as well. It should be. Football is a game for everyone.
Equal rights.
Exactly. So for me, it would be massive news, and there will be a video discussing it, and that will be on the chat show. Which branding is absolutely fantastic for you. You'll all be pleased to know, as you can not see. There you go, branding. There you go, the chat show. So there it is. Gone with the purple and the blue vibes. Then we've got the Chasing Pack. That's another football show. I mean, I'm telling you now, we're all stepping up. Then you've got the match reaction. Then you've got the match, which is our stream for the watch-alongs. And then you've got the previews, guys. So I'm telling you now, the Blue Boys Network are taking fucking over. Guys, I'm leaving it there. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy the preview. Enjoy the match.
Before you finish, please go easy on me over the Richarlison chat. I wasn't saying he's shit and I want him to go. I was just getting my points across how I feel like he's performing at the minute. As Michael said, we will see you soon.
I don't think, just to elaborate, John, I don't think you said anything wrong.
Oh, well, some of our fans, Jesus Christ.
Guys, I'll see you soon. Peace.